At first I was afraid. I was petrified. Kept thinking I could never live without you by my side. But then I spent so many nights just thinking how you did me wrong.
And I grew strong, and I learned how to get along.
I got that chain, that little person still in halfway through.
And I spent oh so many nights just feeling sorry for myself.
We do it for the kids! For the kids!
Emma's a pimp!
Wait until the Reaper takes my life.
Lucky for you, you are right where you need to be. So sit back, relax, and turn up the volume on your streaming device. Johnny Ballgame, Sir Poops-a-Lot, and the Fantasy Reaper are about to deliver humor and fantasy gold at the same time. Crush your opponent with a smile. It's Fantasy Sports Island.
Welcome to the island, bitches!
Wow.
Johnny Ballgame!
Terrified. Wait, of that guy right there. Terrified.
Let me ask you a question, Johnny. How did you do in fantasy this week?
I feel like you're coming for me. That's how I did this week. Not great. Week one.
Bad news.
Yeah.
Bad news, Johnny. How about you, Sir Poops-a-Lot?
Back and forth, man. That's why I play a lot of leagues. Because if one team sucks, the other team's good kind of thing. So I did all right.
Yeah.
Welcome to Fantasy Sports Island, everybody. Obviously, I'm the Fantasy Reaper, Mr. T. And I had a good week in fantasy football, so I'm super happy. But I didn't have as good a week as Tony Sir Poops-a-Lot.
No, you did not. That was
Tony.
fantastic.
Tony picked some good players like Juju Smith-Schuster and Patrick Mahomes. You must have liked what they did this week, huh, Tony?
Absolutely, of course. Mahomes was pretty much like one of the highest point getters, so I'm stoked about that.
Ridiculous.
Well, at the end of tonight's show, yours truly will be coming for one of your fantasy players. I'm not going to reveal it yet, but stay tuned. Stick around. Hit that like button. Subscribe. Make a comment. Do what you got to do to up that YouTube algorithm, or I will come for you as well. And again, welcome to the show. We appreciate your support. And tonight we got a good show for you guys.
Chuck, when did you get here?
I don't know. I just appeared.
Weird. One minute was the Reaper, next minute it's Chuck.
I'm tricky like that, Johnny. I'm tricky. Tonight we're going to do some fantasy roundtable, discuss some of the games that we just saw over the weekend. Then we're going to bust out our heroes and zeros segment. These are guys that did well for us and came up small for us as well. And then we're going to do some waiver wire gems, talk about what we think we like on the waiver wire, who we're looking at, maybe give you guys some hints. And then we're going to close up the show, like I said, with the Fantasy Reaper segment. That ought to be fun. You guys ready to go?
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it.
All right, let's start with some news. Dak Prescott had hand surgery to repair a broken thumb that he sustained in the game. But he won't go to the IR or the IL, whatever they call it, because there's optimism that he could be back by week 4, possibly October 5th. So in the meantime, Johnny, does that mean we get to see your boy Cooper Rush?
Dallas Cowboys have this thing with redheaded backup quarterbacks. And so once again, I believe we're going to get an Elmo sighting.
Oh, Elmo, no! Football for the Dallas Cowboys. Oh, Dallas Cowboys. Sounds like a player. Cooper is so creepy.
You're welcome, Cooper Rush. You're welcome. At me.
All right. So I've been debating with my cousin Ricky about this. Somebody dropped Dak in one of our leagues instead of putting him on the IR. Another team picked him up, put him on his IR, and he's a little butthurt about it. He's like, man, I can't believe that guy got Dak for nothing. But I'm thinking it doesn't matter. Dak looked like shit in the game. His offensive line looks terrible, and I could care less who has Dak. What do you think?
He didn't look good. But again, it's week one. Dak, after week one last year, everybody thought he was going to throw for 6,000 yards.
Yeah.
And he ended up going the wrong way. So maybe Dak, terrible in the first week, meant he was going to be good. It's week one. Everyone panicked so damn early in week one. Stop. They don't play a preseason anymore. What you just saw was week one of preseason. Congratulations, NFL. Nice product you're putting on the field.
This is kind of true. Nobody plays their starters anymore, and these guys come in, they're a little rusty. And we see it in week one every year.
It's terrible.
Yeah. All right, so you're not concerned that much, but I'm really concerned about the offensive line. Tony, did you watch that game? It didn't look like you had much time.
Yeah, no, it was pretty bad. And I had some stakes in that game that I'll talk about later. Some disappointing offensive players, and I think that's the main culprit there. That line did not help anybody. It scares the hell out of me. So let's say you bring Dak back in 3 weeks. Is that line still going to be banged up and looking crappy? I wouldn't want to bring him in too soon. He's going to get the other freaking finger broken. So yeah, I'm worried about it.
Yeah, it's in my opinion that Dak Prescott is no longer a quarterback one. He's a quarterback two. I'm not going to worry about someone picking up a backup quarterback. I mean, I don't care. I'm not into Dak. So moving on, let's talk about the 49ers running back Elijah Mitchell. He sprained his MCL in his knee. He's going to be out a minimum of 2 months. Now, on a short bench league, are you dropping Elijah?
On a short bench league, probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
I feel like it'll take 2 months to recover from the injury, and then it might take him a week or two to get back to speed. And then shenanigans, I would just drop him, but that's just me. I can imagine if you have an IR spot, you could put him on the IR. But man, he won't be back till minimum, week 9?
Yeah, if I had a bench with an IR spot, I'd put him on there, and if I didn't need it, but he'd sure be the first one to drop if I needed a good player to put on the IR. But I mean, hang on to him for a while. That doesn't hurt. It's not going to hurt you if you've got an IR spot. If you don't have an IR spot, go get a player who's going to play at some point this season.
Agreed. All right, Keenan Allen pulled his hamstring in the game against the Raiders and is now questionable heading into the Thursday night showdown with the Kansas City Chiefs. So in this game, Keenan Allen jumped out early, had about 4 catches for 60 some odd yards right off the bat. Then he pulled up lame, and we saw that kid come in,
Deandre
Carter, and he went ballistic in the second quarter, caught a touchdown as well. And then the second half, things just kind of dissipated for the Chargers. They were hot, they were scoring, and then they just kind of took their foot off the gas pedal. Do you think this has anything to do with the loss of Keenan Allen?
Not necessarily.
They were fine in the first half without him. So, yeah, here's my thing. DeAndre Carter seems like one of those guys that everybody rushes out to get after a 1 week wonder type of week. And he really only had one good quarter. He didn't do much in the second half. I still think, and Mike Williams didn't do much. Jordan Palmer didn't do much. It wasn't like anybody. I mean, they, like you said, they started out super hot in the first half. I think the defense figured him out a little bit, but a little bit too late, obviously. I like Jordan Palmer better than DeAndre Carter. I think he's more polished. I think he's got more talent. DeAndre Carter's kind of jumped around on some teams, and he'll have moments of looking good and then never really finish out. So I'm not jumping on the DeAndre bandwagon yet.
I jumped on the DeAndre bandwagon just because he was playing the slot. And in that offense, the slot could be very valuable. And like you said, Joshua Palmer didn't do much, and he played almost every snap. So I don't know who's going to be better. I took a shot on the younger guy. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
All right. All right, let's talk about Naja Harris. He says his foot is fine after he left the game early against the Bengals with a foot injury. He says he's good to go for Sunday. Do we believe him?
Kinda. I mean, because he started off with an issue, then it's been bugging him a little bit, and then he has another issue during the game. If it was so minor, did they pull him for precautions or what? So it's making me a little uneasy, but they're going to play him, so it can't be that bad, right? But it is making me uneasy.
Yeah, it wasn't like they were blowing out the Bengals. I mean, they had all the turnovers and sacks, but the game was so damn close. If he could have played, why not play? So, yeah, I'm kind of with Tony. I'm nervous. If I've got a viable backup, I'm probably not rolling with Naja this week.
Okay. Chris Goblin will be out a few weeks after straining his hamstring. He looked good on the screen pass that he caught, and maybe came back a little early, though, because this is usually what happens to people that come back too early from injury. They injure something else because they're compensating. So he should be out a few weeks. We'll see what happens. T. Higgins is in the league's concussion protocol and is questionable for Sunday's game. Did you guys see the hit?
It was a good one. It was a hit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see if he can make it back. And last bit of news real quick. I don't know why this is relevant, maybe for Royce. Colts place kicker Rodrigo Blankenship was cut. Do we care?
I mean, it's funny because he was like a big part of that team for a while there. So, it just goes to show you, being a kicker is a fickle little thing there. So,
I actually
he'll get picked up.
Yeah, maybe not. He's a kicker. I had to actually drop him in a league and pick up someone else. Whatever.
It was more of an inconvenience than
I
could care less. I just had to take the time to find other kickers.
Was it Royce that said that? Was it Royce or you, Tony, that said my kicker in all 4 leagues just got cut?
In 4 of 6 leagues.
Here's the kicker for me. Hey, I got Justin Tucker instead. I don't know what he was doing on the waiver wire, but whatever. Thank you.
Justin Tucker was on the waiver wire?
Yeah.
Not in our league, right? Oh, Sleeper League.
Sleeper League, yeah.
Wow.
All right, let's do a little fantasy roundtable. Let's talk out some issues, talk about the games. But the first thing I want to talk about is the inept and stupid NFL coaches that are in this league, stepping on their own dicks, overthinking things. Let's start in Seattle because this was ridiculous. Both sides of the ball I thought was poorly coached and managed clockwise. But I want to talk about Melvin Gordon. That's right, the fantasy frickin' rooster who got 12 carries to Javonte Williams 7. Javonte did get 11 catches for 65 yards, and he did out-snap Melvin Gordon, but it was almost 50-50 yet again. John, what the fuck are we doing?
The only thing I could think of is, are they trying to keep Javonte fresh for the middle and stretch run? Like, that's the only thing I could think. But here's my thing. You weren't winning. Here's what I would do. I'd put the most talented people in and then try to win. I know it's a crazy, crazy thought, but Javonte is measurably better than Gordon. It's eye test, strength test, speed test, hands, measurably better.
It's stupid. It's stupid that Javonte is again being cock-blocked by that freaking rooster. I'm pissed off, man, because I went on here and I screamed as loud as I possibly could that Javonte was going to get at least 2/3 of the carries. And so far after week 1, I'm wrong yet again. And I don't know why. It's just stupid. And then on the other side, you got the Seahawks. They have this running back, Rashad Penny, who looked really good in the first quarter. And then they just stopped running the ball. And they were throwing and throwing and throwing. And we get down to the end. The Broncos get a 4th and 5 with a minute left. They have Russell Wilson. And for some reason, Russell Wilson can't get a play off. He's taking his time. The coaches seemed like they don't know what's going on. They let 40 seconds go off the clock. And then they call timeout with 20 seconds left. And then they decide to kick a 68-yard field goal instead of letting Russ go for a 4th and 5 from midfield.
Would have been tied for the second longest field goal in NFL history. That feels right.
Yeah, in Seattle, by the way, which is a hard place to kick balls. That was the stupidest thing I've ever seen. Why didn't they just just go for it on 4th and 5, see what happens. And if they don't get it, they still have 3 timeouts. They could possibly get the ball back. I just thought it was bad coaching all the way around. And I had to say something about it. Yeah.
Terrible coaching.
What's your take on all this, Tony? All these coaching decisions, like New England, they have a 3-headed monster in the backfield. I mean, the situation in Houston, which we'll get to later. But, I mean, all these coaches, like, what are we doing?
I feel like sometimes, just with the reading that I was doing, the watching that I'm doing, I feel like one side of the coaching sometimes is timid. Like, I've read some stuff about Seattle, how they have so many problems with injuries to their running backs that they're actually nervous. They're not admitting it, but like Carroll is timid in taking somebody like Rashad Penny, who is injury prone. He's had problems in the past, and like wearing these guys out. Denver, it's almost like he wanted to be the hero. Like, I know what I'm doing. I'm going to run the clock down. I'm going to put all my faith in this kicker, and because I know he can make this, and I'm going to be a hero. The kicker's going to be the hero, and the team's going to love me and respect me. I don't know. It's absurd. It really is. It's embarrassing. I'm worried about Denver now too. I'm like, that's your coach. And did you guys wake up this morning going, he's awesome. He's got our back. He's got us pumped up.
Also, I don't know if you noticed, but he threw the tight ends the first 10 or 15 passes. Only tight ends. Yeah. And then he went to just Javonte Williams. And then he finally went to the wide receivers. It was ridiculous.
Weird.
Yeah.
It was a weird game plan.
Yeah.
Judy dropped 2 balls. It was a weird, man. The whole game was weird.
Yeah, it was.
All right, let's talk about some other games. The Bills destroyed the Rams on Thursday Night Football. A few takeaways. Cooper Kupp is still good. 13 catches for 128 and a touchdown. Allen Robinson was a ghost. Cam Akers was a ghost. Josh Allen looked like the best quarterback in football. He threw for almost 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. Also rushed for 56 yards and a touchdown. And then let's talk about the backfield in Buffalo. Devin Singletary definitely looked like the most explosive back. But then in comes Cook. He fumbles. He gets benched. And then they bring in Moss, who got a bunch of looks in the backfield. What do we think is going to shake out here in the backfield, John?
I think it's going to be the dreaded 3-headed monster. I don't think when you've got 3 good running backs, you don't have one great one. So I think it's going to be situational. It's going to depend on who they're playing. I really thought Cook might end up being that really good pass catching back, and he probably still will. So I still like him with upside. Devin Singletary on any other team would be their starting running back. He's a fantastic running back. He's fast. He's powerful. He can catch the ball. Just doesn't get that much opportunity. So I think it's a 3-headed monster again.
Tony.
Yeah.
Now we go to the Miami New England game. The New England backfield. We sure thought Ramondre Stevenson was going to be the 3rd down guy, but he wasn't. It was Ty Montgomery. But now Ty Montgomery was put on the IR just about an hour ago. So he's going to be out for 4 to 6 weeks. So, okay, what's going to happen now, do you think, between Harris and Ramondre? Does Ramondre now get the 3rd down back work, or
dude? I don't know. It's Belichick. I don't know.
Exactly.
I think it would be. And it's also a similar thing in, I wouldn't say he's Javonte Williams, but he's pretty damn good. He's a big, strong back. He should be getting the ball more. But knowing Belichick, who's he going to get now? Is he going to start go out and get James White now and bring back? And I don't know, dude. I'm every week I'm wishy-washy. I don't know, but you're talking about Belichick here. So Ramondre deserves the ball, but he's probably not going to get enough.
This is also another coaching staff that I'm extremely disappointed in this year. They have 2 offensive coordinators that literally suck at coaching football. And these 2 are their offensive coordinators. We're talking about Matt Patricia and Joe Judge. These guys have just failed everywhere they've gone. And Bill Belichick is entrusting their young second-year quarterback, Mac Jones, with these 2 clowns. I don't understand it, John. I just don't.
Bro, I don't either. The Patriots could have any offensive coordinator they want. Why not go get a good one? Why are we trusting 2 people who've never been offensive coordinators?
That's another thing.
Belichick's a defensive guy. It's not like he went, I can train him. He's not an offensive coordinator. So we've got 3 non-offensive coordinators running the show there. Congratulations, Bill. I know you're a genius. I get it. You got more Super Bowl titles than I've got fingers. I get it. But what are we doing? Can you show us that you're a genius and hire someone who knows what they're doing?
Yeah, he hasn't looked like a genius since he let Tom Brady walk. The Steelers squeaked by your Bengals. And when I say your Bengals, I'm talking about Tony and John. 23-20 in the most bizarre game. Joe Burrow turned the ball over 5 times. He did throw for 338 and 2 tutties. Chase had a monster game, 10 catches for 129 and a tutty. And TJ Watt left with a pectoral injury. He doesn't need surgery, though. He'll probably be out 6 weeks. But I wanted to talk about, what's your thoughts on Joe Burrow right now, John? What are you feeling?
I mean, he still scored a bunch, right? I mean, he had 5 turnovers and still was one of the probably top 10 scoring quarterbacks in fantasy this week. So I'm still right there with him. I'm still riding with him. I think the line, God, they got to get better. They got to get, but now granted, the Steelers pass defense, at least the rush is fantastic. And so you got to give them a little bit of credit. But again, nobody played with each other all of preseason. So this is a whole new line that's going to take some time to gel. Mixon ended up having a pretty good game towards the end. So I thought they started running a little bit better. They did give him a little more time toward the end. I think it's just going to take some time, but I still like Burrow. I'm still high on him.
Still think he's your number 1 quarterback?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not worried.
All right, good. The Commandos beat the Jaguars 28-22 in a game where Carson Wentz, yes, that Carson Wentz, threw 4 touchdowns, 2 of them to rookie Jahan Dotson. Antonio Gibson was also heavily involved in the passing game, which was good to see. Also got about 56 yards rushing as well. I was happy to see that. But the thing that caught my eye the most was James Robinson getting 2 touchdowns and looking like James Robinson.
Yeah.
What do you think, Tony?
Yeah, he looked like James Robinson from a couple years ago for sure. It's encouraging for the team. It's another frustrating situation for me as a fantasy owner because I don't know who I'm going to play over there. But yeah, he looks good. And you know what? He's going to start again. They're going to keep giving him the ball as long as he performs like that.
Travis Etienne was not heavily used like we were hoping. He did get some work in the passing game, and he did drop a touchdown. And then there was a second possible touchdown where Trevor Lawrence had him wide open, and he just overthrew him. So his stat line could have been a lot better for fantasy owners, but the usage wasn't as high as I would have liked. And I have Travis Etienne in my starting lineup in one of my leagues, and now I'm considering benching him for a little bit at least.
Yeah, I actually just put in a starting lineup in one of my leagues, and I did bench him. And I'm with you. I think we'll just wait a little bit. Now, again, he's also coming off of a major injury where he missed an entire season. So it's possible they're going to they're going to split it with both of them and let them, and then see who just kind of emerges. Like you said, if Etienne would have caught that touchdown pass that he was wide open on, we're talking about a different week, right? They might have targeted him a few more times. They might have taken him out. So I don't want to panic and say drop him or anything like that. But I do think, I think benching him for a week or 2 is probably not a bad idea.
Just be patient with these guys. Be patient with James Cook. Be patient with Travis Etienne. Be patient with all rookie running backs, including Breece Hall.
Damien Pierce.
Damien Pierce, that's another one. The Eagles beat the Lions 38-35 in the highest scoring game of the week. DeAndre Swift looked like a top 3 back, boys. Monster game. 15 carries, 144, and a touchdown. Amon St. Brown came through with 864 and a touchdown. On the other side, Jalen Hurts was Jalen Hurts. He rushed for a lot of yards. He was also very inaccurate, 18 of 32. But A.J. Brown, 10 catches for 155. He looks like he fits real well in that offensive juggernaut in Philly. And all 3 running backs, Sanders, Gainwell, and Boston Scott, all had a touchdown on the ground as well. So I think the takeaway was that Hurts isn't going to be a top 5 back in leagues that reward accuracy, but in standard leagues, he will be.
Yeah. Leagues that reward running for quarterbacks he's going to be fantastic in.
Yeah, he's got that cheat code.
Yeah. I will say Miles Sanders was a really pleasant surprise, and getting a touchdown was probably magnificent for him because he hasn't sniffed an end zone in over 365 days. So, he was good. Pretty good.
Yeah, he looked good. Hallelujah, he got in the end zone. Congratulations.
Yeah, AJ Brown though.
Wow.
Yeah, I was most impressed with AJ because I just had it in me like a few weeks ago. Like I was saying, I was like, I don't know if he's going to sneak into that top 10. I don't know if he's going to be able to mesh that quickly. But man, he looks like he's been there for years.
Yeah. All right, New Orleans beat Atlanta on a game-winning field goal at the buzzer, 27-26. The takeaway for me though was Cordero Patterson. 22 carries, 120, and a touchdown. Are you freaking kidding me? I wrote this guy. I would like to formally apologize to Scordero. My bad, bro. You still got it. Yeah. Kyle Pitts, only 3 fantasy points. That was puzzling to me. Michael Thomas caught 2 touchdowns and had a good fantasy day overall, but Jarvis Landry was the best receiver, 7 catches for 114. And last thing I wanted to talk about with this game, Taysom Hill got 4 carries for 81 yards and a touchdown. People are picking him up at tight end now, John. Is this a smart move?
It's not a dumb move. I mean, if you've got a tight end spot, you got a roster spot, why would you not stash him on the end of you get those kind of numbers from a tight end? Yes, please. I'll take
but
that.
when is it going to happen? Like, you have to, it's not going to happen every game. There's going to be games where he gets 0, right?
Maybe. They utilized them. I mean, you saw it. They intentionally utilized him down there at the goal line. I think it's bad news for Kamara owners is what I think.
Yeah, and they did reveal that Kamara didn't get as many snaps as they would have liked because he did have a minor rib injury in the beginning of the game. So hold on, Kamara, guys. Don't panic. He's going to be all right.
Yep.
I would panic on Aaron Rodgers, though, because Minnesota came in. Well, it was in Minnesota. But Green Bay came in and got absolutely destroyed. 23-7. Justin Jefferson looked like the best receiver in football. Congratulations, John, on picking him at number 2. 9 catches, 184, 2 touchdowns. Dalvin Cook, 20 for 80. Rodgers, though, looked like shit. 22 of 34 for 195 and a pick. Looked like he was under constant pressure. His receivers let him down. The kid, Christian Watson, dropped a touchdown. What do we think about the Packers right now, Tony?
I feel a little bit different last year. Last year I was worried, they had a couple bad games out of the gate. The difference with this is that the entire team looked pretty bad. The running backs look decent, of course, but he's got nobody to throw to. Hopefully when Lazard gets back and gets healthy, it might help him out. But the whole thing looked off whack, but everybody looked like they were very underwhelming. So last time we just kind of gave Aaron Rodgers a hard time, and then 3 weeks later he was bombing the ball. I don't know, man. It's not looking good over there. I don't like it.
Look for Romeo Doubs to get more involved next week, and Alan Lazard if he plays. I think that will help him. I think Rodgers will be okay. He's not a quarterback 1 anymore, in my opinion, but I think they'll be all right. All right, the Chiefs.
I just want to remind everybody, last year in week 1, Aaron Rodgers had 2 points.
Yeah.
Total.
Yeah.
2 points. And then he came back the following week and had 56.55 points in our league. Yeah. Just a quick reminder. I just want to make sure we understand. I never count that guy out. And I do think Romeo Doubs will get more play. I think everybody will get more play. They were terrible. Vikings came in just as pumped up as they could possibly be. They've got a new coach. They got a new attitude. They believe they're a team of destiny, and they're playing like a team of destiny. So let's all just pump the brakes a minute on the Aaron Rodgers. Like Tony said last year, Rodgers was goofball, and he played like it and was terrible.
And I want to interject again too, using the Bengals also as an example, just like the Packers. There is something to the lack of play in preseason.
Yeah,
we said that earlier, but it does mean something. Some teams don't have an issue, but if you're somebody like a Burrow who had a few weeks of not even able to pick up a football, and then he's not really playing with the team, there's going to be some rust there. So
timing issues. Yeah.
Yes. Give it a couple weeks.
Yep.
All right. Last bit of what I want to talk about with the Chiefs. They hammered the Cardinals 44-21. Mahomes did whatever he wanted. He was ridiculous. 30 of 39, 365 touchdowns. I would like to formally apologize to Travis Kelsey. You are not old. 8 catches, 121, and a tutty. Who I have in the FFPC, so I'm happy. Juju, 6 for 79, Tony. Look good. And CEH, 3 catches for 32 and 2 touchdowns, 7 carries for 42 yards. The Chiefs just look really, really good. I think it's more the Cardinals suck versus the Chiefs are going to be a unstoppable force on offense. They're going to be good. I don't know if they're going to be this good, but next week will be more telling. They're playing the Chargers.
I will say this, though. Chiefs did play in some preseason games. So, make your arguments all you want. Mahomes played some preseason.
That's true.
The whole starting team did. So they looked fantastic. I mean, right now it's the Bills and the Chiefs are the class of the NFL, not just the AFC, but
yeah,
that's a tough looking one.
All right. Heroes and zeros. We're going to pick our fantasy heroes for this week, guys that we played that came through for us, and we're going to talk about our fantasy zeros, guys that came up short. All right, let's start with you, John. Give me your first fantasy hero.
You mentioned him already. Cordero Patterson had a day. Like most, kind of wrote him off. And I didn't start him, but he was on my bench. Sadly, was on my bench. Could have actually had a really nice week if I'd have put him in there. But he's definitely a hero this week. He's just everywhere. He's catching passes, run the ball hard. He looks like a professional running back, not just a receiver who's playing running back. He's really good.
Incredible.
Yeah.
All right, good. Tony, who's your hero?
I'm going Pittman, Indianapolis.
Mm-hmm.
Not only did they look amazing, and he's clicking quite well with Matt Ryan, that their whole team looked pretty good. I was just hopeful. So he's a hero for me, having a couple leagues, but coming out of the gate, over 100 yards, catching touchdowns, that's exciting. He's definitely one of my heroes.
Nice. I'd like to present my first hero, and it's Travis Kelsey, the old man at tight end, 8 for 120 and a touchdown. In the FFPC league, you get 1.5 points for tight ends. I did take him in the first round, and I'm thankful. Thank you, Travis Kelsey. All right, now we got to talk about a zero. I'll start with you, John. We talked about your hero, now let's talk about your zero.
Oh, there's just so many to choose from. I'm going to start with Darnell Mooney. 1 catch, 8 yards. 1 catch, 8 yards. And I know it rained. I get it. But you managed to complete passes to other people, Fields.
True.
Darnell Mooney's your guy.
All right, Tony, who's your zero?
Who did I put down here? This one broke my heart. I'm not terribly worried, but Dawson Knox signed a big contract. I thought he would just get me a little more yardage or get one of those catches in the red zone. He didn't look awful. The Bills are amazing, but it kind of ripped the heart out of me. He's definitely a zero for me. He was terrible.
Yeah, he only had 1 catch.
Yeah.
My zero was Ramondre Stevenson. I started him in multiple leagues. I thought he was going to come out of the gate strong. I thought he was going to be the third down back. I was wrong. He only got 8 carries for 25, 2 catches for 2 yards. And Ty Montgomery was the third down back. So, fuck me, right?
Yeah.
All right, John, second hero.
Clearly, it's Justin Jefferson. I mean, 9 catches, $184 and 2 tutties. It's just that's a nice day. It established or it just confirmed my belief that he was going to play a Cooper Kupp type role in a Cooper Kupp type offense with maybe more talent than even Cooper Kupp has. And so fantastic debut in a new offense.
All right. Tony, who's your last hero?
We talked about him earlier. Johnny did. Miles Sanders. I'm happy for him, and happy for me. I had him on my bench all over the place, but also gives me hope. But it's been since late 2019, I think, since he had his last touchdown. They fed the ball to the other guys too, so that makes me a little bit nervous. So I don't know when I'm going to start this guy, but he's definitely a hero, and I love having him on my bench. He's a great backup to have right now.
True. All right. My last hero, Michael Thomas. Not because
Hey,
he didn't have like a monster game. He had 2 touchdowns, 5 catches, 57 yards, so about 20 points. But he had 0 at the half. And I threw him in a lineup. I had no idea what I was going to get from Michael Thomas. And when he had 0 at the half, I thought, oh my God, what did I do? And then he came through. So he's my hero. I appreciate you, Michael. And I hope to see him get better and better as the year progresses. All right, we got one more 0 each. Go ahead, John. Who's your last 0?
I made a bold prediction that this guy was going to outscore Cooper Kupp this year. And the only way he's going to outscore Cooper Kupp is if Cooper Kupp
Dies.
or blows a knee and is out for the season tomorrow. And then even then, I'm not sure he's going to outscore him. It was awful. One catch again, just completely disappeared.
He did. All right, Tony, who's your 0?
I'm going Zeke. To be honest, I'm not really that surprised, man. I'm just not surprised. I mean, he got like 50 yards or something like that, but they just didn't use him much. That line's messed up, and the whole Cowboy team again. And Tampa Bay's defense is rough, man. They're tough. They're a tough team. So I'm hoping something happens in the next couple of weeks and they start giving him the ball. But yeah, he was definitely a 0.
It's the offensive line.
Yeah, I'm bummed because he actually ran pretty hard. He actually played pretty well when they gave him the carry. They should give him the carry. So, yeah.
All right.
I get it.
Last 0, I'm going with Elijah Moore. I drafted him all over the place. I figured this was a great matchup. They're going to be playing from behind. That's exactly what happened. Joe Flacco threw for 300 yards and a tutty, and Elijah Moore only had 5 for 49, so kind of a dud. 0 for me.
Allen Robinson owners are going, shut up, 5 for 49.
Yeah,
we would have taken that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Let's talk about some waiver wire gems. Guys that we're trying to pick off the waiver wire. Maybe we can help you get out there and find a gem. So I want to go over some guys. You tell me if you think these guys are waiver wire gems or you should pass. Start at quarterback, Carson Wentz. What do you think, John?
I mean, if you're hurting for a number 2 quarterback, here's the thing: Carson Wentz's numbers weren't bad last year. He had an okay season. Toward the end, he kind of crapped down his leg. But if you need a quarterback or you're streaming quarterbacks, I'd look at Wentz, especially if you're streaming them.
John, I want to ask you about this guy too because you're a Bears fan. Justin Fields. He's out there in a lot of leagues. Would you pick him up?
Yeah, I'd stash him. I would.
Yeah.
I would stash him if you've got if it's a short bench, maybe not. But if you've got some room on your bench, I would stash him. He's going to run. You saw that second half. He was a completely different quarterback. Started to play the way we thought Justin Fields might play.
Mm-hmm.
Tony, this is going to sound ridiculous, but if you're hurting at quarterback, if you had Dak Prescott and you're looking, would you pick up Marcus Mariota?
You're probably not going to have a choice, right? That's the way I feel. He's one of the 3 guys that are left over. But yeah, I mean, he wasn't horrible, and he does run. He still has a decent arm. He's still young and healthy. So yeah, why not? He's not going to score you a ton of points, but he'll have some points in some games here and there. So stash him away.
He had 80 yards rushing, which is and an additional 8 points right off the bat. So it's automatically having a touchdown on your stat sheet already.
That's true.
Yeah. All right. We're just going to talk about this real quick. Would you pick up Rex Burkhead, John?
No.
Tony?
No, I wouldn't either.
You're not buying into it. All right.
No.
Week one hijinks.
What about Khalil Herbert?
No, I don't think so. I mean, you know what? I might back him up. If I am a Montgomery owner, I would handcuff him.
He's kind of a handcuff, yeah.
Yeah.
I like him. He's just not the main man.
To me, he looked better than Montgomery. Montgomery looked slow, like he was running in mud.
And he kind of was.
He kind of was. But Khalil just looks more explosive. And I don't think the new regime has any ties to Montgomery. I could see them going Herbert.
Maybe.
I could, yeah.
I mean, they don't have any ties to Herbert either, but.
Dontrell Hilliard.
Another handcuff. Important.
Two touchdowns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely a handcuff. I thought it was going to be the Michigan back, but Hilliard looks like he's the clear number 2 right now.
Yeah.
All right, with Eli Mitchell being out for 2 months, possibly longer, do you run out and get Jeff Wilson? Or do you go out and get one of the other 2 running backs?
First of all, I would stay away from San Francisco running backs right now because they're all backups and they're going to give it to Debo a lot. So I don't think I would pick up anybody. And as a guy who's got some shares of Debo, I'm kind of excited about that.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't pick up a San Francisco running back right now.
I kind of agree with that. I've been avoiding them since like last year. Like, no thanks. I don't trust Shanahan.
If you got some space and you want to take Wilson or something and throw him on the bench in case he kicks it into gear 2 weeks from now, sure. But if you don't have the room, I'm not looking at San Francisco's backs. He's right. Debo's going to get the ball now.
Yeah.
All right, wide receivers. Let's start with Robbie Anderson. Let's talk to you, John. That was your boy a couple years ago. Would you pick him up, or was that a fluke?
I'd pick him up. I think Baker likes Robbie. I think
He wasn't looking at Moore, man. He wasn't looking at him.
No.
And we've seen that with Odell and the guys up there. He picks somebody and he doesn't look at anybody else.
Yeah, he's this year's Jarvis Landry.
Yeah. Good point. All right. I went out and picked up this guy in every league I could get him because I'm sold. Jahan Dotson.
Looks good. Pick him up. Looks really
awesome.
good. Yeah.
He looks explosive. Those 2 catches he made were both contested for touchdowns. I think the trust is there. I kind of get the Justin Jefferson vibes from a couple years ago. Maybe not quite that talented, but could explode this season. I like Jahan Dotson.
Yeah.
Julio Jones. He's available in a lot of leagues. Would we go out and get him, especially with the Goblin injury? I mean, I would. He looked good.
I'd think about it. If I got a roster spot, I'd put him on my bench for a little bit, just see how it
Definitely
rides.
looked healthy.
Yeah.
Got some step in the step.
Absolutely.
And he got a little minor tweak, but then he came back in the game, so I thought that was actually a positive sign.
Pick him up, play him 1 week until he gets hurt, and then you can dump him.
Yeah.
Jarvis Landry.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. Jameis looked like he trusts him a lot.
Yeah. And last one, Curtis Samuel. Do we buy into it? He caught a bunch of balls and a touchdown. Do we buy into it?
No, his best year, he never broke 1,000 yards. What are we doing? He's been injured for 2 years in a row. His best year, he's never caught over 1,000. He's not going to catch over 1,000 this year. So stop.
It's a pass.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Fantasy Reaper.
It's time for the Fantasy Reaper, where fantasy players come to die. As you can see, no Johnny Ballgame, no Sir Poops-a-Lot, but the Reaper goes on all by himself. We do it for the kids, Let's talk about who the Reaper wants to take out today. And it's just 2 guys I want to discuss. We'll start with you, Lovie Smith, coach of the Houston Texans. This is your 12th season as an NFL head coach. But let's not forget that you left the NFL to go coach college football in 2016 because the NFL told you that you sucked. After leading the Tampa Bay Bucks to an 8-24 record and getting fired after 2 seasons. So you went on to coach the Fighting Illini in the Big Ten, and you coached them to a 17-39 record over 5 seasons. You sucked again. Now you're back in the NFL, and oh no, you suck again! You stumbled onto this amazing find in the backfield in the draft, running back Damien Pierce. Ever heard of him? He's wowed all the coaches, the press, fantasy football owners, and the media during the entire training camp and the preseason, so much so that the organization decided to cut Marlon Mack. So now you only have 2 running backs, the aforementioned Pierce, a 22-year-old stud with explosive abilities that screams 3 down back, and Rexington Burkhead, a 32-year-old aging journeyman that is probably playing in his last season in the NFL. The choice sounds easy, since the Texans haven't been good in years, And they can cut bait, or they already cut bait, with Deshaun whack me off, son. So they're starting fresh. Perfect opportunity to go young and develop some talent. And in your first NFL game of the season, you started Pierce, a good decision. And then you subsequently played not sexy Rexy, 71% of the snaps compared to only 29% for Damien Pierce. What are we doing, bro? Are you trying to get fired again? And one could say, well, Fantasy Reaper, maybe Rex was just more productive in this game. That would be a lie. On 14 carries, Burknuts averaged 2.9 yards per carry. One could also say, but Reaper, the Texans were playing from behind and Sexy Rexy is the third down back. And that would also be a lie. The truth is the Texans were in the lead until the very end of the game. So I ask you, old Lovey, are you trying to get fired again? But don't worry, folks. I've already talked to Lovey and given him the ultimatum. Either he lets Damien loose next week and gets back on track, or the Fantasy Reaper will take out Lovey Smith and Rexington Burkett at the same time. 2 for 1. Usually you gotta pay double for that kind of action, Cotton. Either way, the Reaper will get him, or ownership will get him and fire his ass. So I'm pretty confident for you folks that own Damien Pierce, put him in your lineup, because he's going to get the bulk of the work next week. House Wazilla, mark it down. Championship. Reaper out. Thank you guys for watching Fantasy Sports Island tonight. I just want to say I appreciate Johnny Ballgame coming on the show. He had to take off a little early tonight, but thank you, Johnny Ballgame. And also, same for Tony Sir Poops a lot. Had to go to work early tonight, so we appreciate them jumping on and giving us as much time as they could. I am the Fantasy Reaper. We want you to hit that like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell, because we do this every week. We'll be back for next week, breaking down week 2, getting into week 3 action. It's going to be great. Don't miss another episode of Fantasy Sports Island. We thank you for your support. We'll see you next week. Aloha.